I haven't made a video in a while. I guess I've been updating Instagram and Facebook for the most part because I haven't wanted to make a video, but I'll make one now. And I am, let's see, Thursday, Saturday. I guess I'm about 10 days post-op, 10 days after double mastectomy, nipple sparing double mastectomy with tissue expander placement and partially filled tissue expander placement. So I went down on Tuesday, was that last week? Yeah, Tuesday last week to do the pre-op stuff. They put in a scout, which just was something that helps the doctor find out where to go, the surgeon, and then they placed this other thing above my nipple that I don't know what that did, but it did something similar to help him figure out where to go. Because Wednesday I was supposed to get into the surgery center at 7:30. I think we got there, and I got there, and well, if you've been reading my updates, this will be review, but if you haven't, then you'll hear the story. So we got there, and I think it took a while for me to get into surgery, maybe till like noon or something, but we were there around 7:30, and then so I had hematoma, one of the breasts. I came out of surgery and they put me in general anesthesia, and I felt basically fine. I mean, as fine as you can feel after surgery. But I had a hematoma, which means, I think, well, I don't know exactly, but a blood vessel was just blasting out blood. So my left breast, which is the breast that had cancer, was filling with blood. So they had to rush me back in for an emergency surgery, and thank God I was, there, and that was possible. So they did that, and so that meant I had general anesthesia twice, and I had the tube with the intubation down my throat. And so basically I had two major surgeries. They went in and they washed it out. That's what they call it, I guess, washing it out. And then I started getting fevers. The fevers were, I got up to 101.9, I think, at one point. I don't know if I got any higher than that. But anyway, we discharged on Friday, and we went to the friend's house, whose house we were staying at nearby in San Jose, and then I was getting the fevers. So then we went back to the ER on Friday, and then they kept me there all the way until Monday. And finally, by Monday, I was just so ready to go home. Just being in the hospital environment, after a while, it loses its whatever its elegance. I'm just tired of the food and being there and wanting to get home, although I was really not looking forward to the drive, because it was going to be a 3 to 4 hour drive. I have 4 drains, so I have 2 on each side, and a couple other things happened. I have on this, you can see kind of the top of it. It's a way too big mastectomy camisole that somebody sent to me. Somebody sent me a few things, and I'm so grateful for the people that I haven't met, who I haven't met in person. I've only met them online. Some people, I've just like burst out, erupted into tears many times when I've received things in the mail from people who I don't know, because you say something like breast cancer, and people can identify with it. They have their own relationship to cancer, and it's touching. It kind of blows me away, really, how much I've been given to. So much from people I don't know, and so much from people I do know, but just the generosity of people's hearts and their giving has really blown me away. So anyway, I have this on, but they had a binder on me, and those are kind of like, they look like tube tops. I put a picture up before of what that looked like, and it made it so that maybe I'll actually show you some stuff here. It made it so that this area right here, I guess what is that, part of my armpit or something, kind of bulged out. So that was really weird. And under here, right here is the expander, and right here is just my skin. So they say they fixed that in surgery, but that was kind of a weird thing to deal with. And my skin is all like irritated from the adhesive. I guess I have an adhesion allergy and rash. My skin's really bothered. So anyway, that happened from the binder, so I stopped wearing that I still have my port right here. See that thing? Keeping that in because I still have Herceptin for the next. I have like 3 more Herceptins to do. So anyway, where was I? They sent me home. Yeah, going home was like, oh my God, it was so intense. I was nauseous basically the whole time. So they put me on oxycodone and Tylenol, the combination of the two. So my oxycodone was either 5 milligram or 10 milligram. And I still take that every 4 hours. I'm getting hot. But I was on the oxycodone, and then I looked up later and saw that oxycodone can make a person nauseous and dizzy, and I was really having that big time in the car. The weirdest thing happened, which was that I felt like I was gonna vomit, and it felt like vomit kind of like went up and then got stuck or something, but I still experienced everything else that was like having vomited, including that really relieving feeling that happens afterward where you're like, you throw up and then it's like, oh my God, I feel so great all of a sudden. And that happened. But I was just, I don't know, I think my, it kind of like collapsed in here or something. No, my lung partially collapsed, but my breathing area, just the whole breathing area was compromised. It felt like it had really become constricted. So I don't think I could have vomited, but it really, it scared me because I thought I was going to choke and die, really. It's just, that's what it felt like. So the whole ride home, John and I are like, like, okay, pull over, I gotta vomit, all right, readjust the pillows. I had pillows in back, pillows in front. But we finally made it, and it felt really good to be home. Let's see if I can put this somewhere more comfortable. And then it was really hard to breathe. I mean, the top of, I guess I could sit up slightly, but the top of the expanders, I guess you could see, it's weird. That's like, I have cleavage, but it's not really. I mean, I guess it is. Those are tissue expanders. It's really hard to breathe right there. So I've had to use this thing. Where's my little friend? This thing. They gave me my little blue toy friend, and I breathe. I take really deep breaths, and I guess that's supposed to help after anesthesia with the breathing. So it's helped a lot. I think I've gotten up to 1,500 on there, and maybe like a little bit further. But at first I was like, how on earth am I going to be able to breathe? These tissue expanders feel like I feel like I'm wearing breast armor, like I'm ready for war. And actually that was a lot of the images I was having while I was on the oxycodone, because it was giving me some altered states, really crazy dreams and really altered states. I was having this feeling of being at war. I felt like I was just on this battlefield. I was this soldier that was just dragged off by my feet and flopped over someone's back and taken to recovery. I mean, I had no idea what to expect with the surgery. I don't know. I mean, I just didn't really think about it. I don't know how I could have really think it all the way through, but to date, the thing that's been the hardest for me physically in my life was giving birth without any drugs. And I thought, like, what could be as hard as that? That's got to be the hardest thing that there is. And now that I've gone through surgery, I'm like, oh my God. I think it made it harder because, it's double mastectomy, so it's both breast and it's tissue expander placement. And I had that hematoma, so I had to go back into surgery. But I think a partially collapsed lung and a constricted airway are not that uncommon. So it's really helped. There's a lot of Facebook groups that I'm in, and one of them has 10,000 people in it, and anybody can just post a question in there, and within a very short period of time, 20, 30 people respond. It's really helpful. Oh, because then another thing that I'm experiencing, and I guess I'll probably not show my whole breast, but maybe just the top, is that's how the expander looks on the top, is this thing. Wait, can you see that? Yeah, I guess you can see right there. You can see this sort of like red. Well, anyway, they put this stuff called alloderm dermal matrix, which there's not a lot of info on it out there, but it comes from a human cadaver, and sometimes it comes from pig as well. So I've got like part of a pig or part of a human cadaver, the skin. This is a really common thing that they do in plastic surgery, is use it, and it's like an adherent. So they put it around the expander, they put it around the implant, and then they put that in your body, and over time the body absorbs it and rebuilds cells into it. So the body just completely like takes it in and as its own. But it looks like I've got this thing called red breast syndrome, and basically at first they weren't sure if I had cellulitis, which is I think a type of infection, or some other kind of infection. So they put me on another antibiotic. I went back down to Stanford. That's right. Okay. So we went back down on Wednesday. I got home on Monday. We drove all the way back down on Wednesday, and it was much more comfortable, but still, quite a long drive, 4 hours there, 4 hours back. And they gave me another antibiotic, and it had some kind of like sulfur, which I was reading. They use that sometimes for the alloderm irritations, inflammation like I have. So, so from what I could tell from my internet searching, the red breast syndrome happens maybe up to 10% of the time or something like that. Over time, it supposedly goes away and it becomes less red. We've been watching it, and it's been it's basically not getting worse. I don't know that it's getting better. It might be getting a little bit better, but it's not getting worse. Or I'm probably just getting a little bit used to it. But really, the color, they said, make sure you're watching that doesn't happen to the other breast. So we've been watching it, and it's been fine, and my breathing's been better. And overall, every day I'm feeling about probably 5 to 10% better each day. I have this weird thing where when I get cold, I'm just up in my room, up in our room, little panorama. It's quite a mess. And so we can keep it warm in here because we live in the foothills. It's pretty cold. Like last night, I think it got down to the 30s. But when I go outside, I try to go outside for a walk, and the the armor, this breastplate, it grabs. It kind of like grabs and constricts and pulls, and it's the most uncomfortable feeling. It's like it actually hurts. So I'm gonna ask them about that. What do I do? I mean, I guess I could I was really bundled up. I had on like my winter coat and stuff, and it was still happening. So I need to know what to do about that. But so I just stay in this warm room all the time. And we're going. Oh well, the other really good news is that they took some of the nipple, because I had a nipple sparing, which means they saved my nipples, bilateral mastectomy, and they did the incision down here, so that's called inframammary here. And a lot of times women get the incisions across, or I was expecting it to go down, and I was also expecting them to cut into the axilla here, but somehow these genius surgeons, they cut me here, they scraped out all the breast tissue, and then they got into the axilla here from that incision and pulled out 2 nodes, which is mind-blowing. So that means my scars are only going to be right here. I'm going to have a scar here, and I'm going to have a scar here, and that's like, I don't know, I'm just kind of blown away by that because I've seen so many pictures, I mean, hundreds of photos of women in different stages of breast reconstruction, and I'm gonna adjust this thing again. And rarely, I haven't seen any pictures really where a woman, number one, gets to keep her nipples, and number two, only has that scar underneath. So I feel pretty blessed that that's how it's going to turn out for me. So I hope. I mean, I just hope everything goes okay with these tissue expanders. But anyway, so they took pieces, they took samples, and they turned them into their lab to get tested. And all of the samples from the axilla, which is the armpit, the lymph node area, from the nipple, and from other various parts of the breast, they all showed no evidence of disease. So chemo just completely obliterated the cancer. There is no cancer in my body, which is amazing. And now I don't know if they're going to recommend radiation for me or not. Typically, I would be a candidate for it just because of the size of the tumor originally being from 2.5 all the way up to like 7 centimeters, all the way maybe up to 8. There was this variation. So, but I'm definitely reluctant because of this red, because of this red breast thing that's going on. So I feel like the tissue is already really bothered and irritated and inflamed, and I just have this skin that's like, this right here is from some adhesive. It's like it pulled off, it ripped, it bled, it scabbed. It's just my skin has gotten destroyed from chemo, and it's also really sensitive anyway. So I meet with the radiation oncologist up here soon, in a week or two or something, a week and a half, and so we'll see how that conversation goes. I would love not to have radiation, my God, because even though it's really fast, it's still, it's over the course of 5 to 6 weeks, and it's only an hour out of my day, or maybe less, but it's every day, Monday through Friday. But I'm so on stall here, I'm just barely scraping by, trying to make ends meet. I have a lot of support, which is wonderful, but it's just still like, living this threadbare existence because I haven't been able to work or really do much except for care for myself, which is a good thing, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, radiation. And then at the same time, the thought is that you come at the cancer with all your ammo and all you've got. And if I've attacked it already twice, that means, making sure just in case, like, that I would get it with the radiation to make sure there's absolutely nothing that remains. So that's the thinking on it. But if there's no evidence whatsoever in my body, and I've made changes in my life to, to make sure I'm eating anti-estrogenic foods every day and living the least estrogenic life I can lead, because we're surrounded by xenoestrogens like recycled toilet paper and our food that gets wrapped in plastic and drinking out of plastic bottles. Plastic is like one of the worst contributors of estrogens in our environment. So if we already have a hormone imbalance, and then we're adding, I have an estrogen-driven, hormone-driven cancer, and then I'm getting too much estrogen. Like even lavender is estrogenic. So the place that I used to exercise at, they would give us a lavender towel, and like for me, that was actually antithetical to my, if that's the right word, to my healing. It went against what I needed. It wasn't good for me to add more estrogen to my body. So anyway, yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to do the radiation, but then, so that all depends how long I'll have these expanders in. I hope it gets better, but like right here, it's my sternum. It's so weird because, it feels like I'm kind of like showing my cleavage, and I guess in a way I am, but in a way it's sort of like not my own, I stand there with this top off, and I don't even really feel like I have breasts, I have these things on me, and these objects, It said, I've heard some women say that it takes time for them to feel like they're a part of their body. But at the same time, they kind of look the same because there's no scar. I can't even see the incisions. When I look down like this, my breasts, except for the fact that one's really red and the other one's kind of semi-inflated from the fill, they look the same. Like my nipples are the same, my breasts are the same. I don't even see any difference. But so it's very weird. Okay, this is getting long. All right, so I go to Stanford on, how did I do that? That's funny. I didn't know how to zoom, but there it is. We go down to Stanford again on Tuesday, and I guess just because I've been showing so many things, I might as well show these too. They have the drains. Ooh, look at that. How do you like that? That's crazy, huh? I've got these tubes coming out of my body. I have those two, and then I have Oh, there's an incision. Oh, you got to see. Oh, that one's covered. Yeah, that's the bottom of the incision. Creepy. I hope that didn't creep anyone out too bad. Wasn't really meaning to do that, but yeah, I'm gonna get these other 2 drains removed. These are hard to deal with. These pockets. I hope, but I've had to wait until the output of the drains is under 25 ml per day, and we drain them twice. John drains them like every 12 hours. So when they get down to less than 25, then they're ready to come out. And this left one has really had a lot of output. It was the one that had the hematoma and had the second surgery. So, oh my God, it's been more than I realized. I really took it lightly just to say like, oh yeah, I'm going to have surgery. I wouldn't have done anything different, but I guess it's like childbirth. Anyone that's ever had a kid, you really can't prepare. No matter how many Ina May books you read, you're like, wow, that was the most intense thing to go through, giving birth. And I think it's a lot like that. It's just I wouldn't have really known how to. We couldn't have really been better prepared, I don't think. So I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for your thoughts and checking in and asking me how I'm doing. I've been kind of like in bed and trying to get myself off the pain meds. It's really like oxycodone now every 4 hours, 5 milligrams. So that's what I've weaned myself to, although I'm allowed to take up to 15, but they feel terrible. They make me feel dizzy. Ugh, I don't know. I don't know how people get addicted to it. For me, I'm just like, I want this out of my body. So yeah, that's the good news. Maybe I'll leave another update after we go to Stanford. So thank you. Hope you're doing well. And hey, check the eyebrows out. Look at those babies. I'm so excited. I'm getting them in. Although the eyelashes are pretty thin. I've lost a lot of eyelashes, but I'm really excited the eyebrows are coming back in. So, all right, take care.